end up taking these jobs or, you know, fulfilling these roles or playing these characters that aren't truly us. And we think it's normal. Like, we tell ourselves it's normal. It's normal because our parents are proud of us. It's normal because it pays our bills. It's normal because it's giving me a 401k. It's normal because it's keeping me safe from looking bad in front of people. That's not normal. That's not normal. So this video is a little bit different than my normal videos. It's kind of almost like a personal video, or like a summation of everything that I wish that somebody shared with me to like make Hannah like chill out back in the day when I was really like in the weeds with my business and just like mentally not good, and you know, having this anxiety about this unknown thing that I was trying to do. And basically I had these like super weird like ways of coping with my anxiety when I was trying to build a business. And similarly, I would go on YouTube or the internet and just kind of watch videos of other entrepreneurs or people that were doing similar things as me. And not only would I like watch all their videos, but I would research every little detail I could find about their entire life. And that did two things for me. The first thing I'm going to tell you, it was a good thing. The second thing is it's actually not a good thing. But the first reason why it was good is because honestly, like when you're doing something that like no one else is doing and you're kind of doing it by yourself, you don't really have checkpoints of someone saying you're doing this right. You may at that point not really be getting those like universal, yes, you're on the right track, you're doing the right thing, you know, alerts. You might be confused, you might not even be knowing if you're doing the right thing because the universe isn't really, you know, giving you these signs that you're on the right path. So I would first go and look up like huge names, like people like Sarah Blakely or Gary Vee or like Tony Robbins, just like huge names, and I would research everything about their life and go back to like their first pieces of content or where they started. So that within itself was like really humbling. And it, you know, you would watch those things and see where people started, or like Jeff Bezos, how he like started in his garage or something. Those would make me feel better for a certain amount of time, and honestly like really did help me like push me forward to keep moving forward. But on the other hand, I also did this like kind of toxic thing where I would compare my journey to their journey. So I would go as far as like researching at what age did Sarah Blakely move out of her house? How much money did her parents give her to help her that? So like I would be like looking for reasons why they made it and I wasn't making it. Like it was like comparing myself to them. Like if I wasn't hitting the same milestones that they were hitting at that age, I would use age as like the variable of self-destruction. So like if they did something that I hadn't done yet at my age, then like I wasn't doing it right. So I don't recommend you do that at all, because first of all, everyone has a different path, and your path to this person's path, even if your whole life up to that point had seemed pretty similar in the way that you lived your life, your journey and someone else's journey is going to be two completely different journeys. And so you can't use those data points as accurate data points because they're just not accurate at all. And so you have to be okay with where you're at. You have to know that you're where you're at for a reason, and that you're exactly where you're supposed to be for your given knowledge at the given time of, you know, whatever you're trying to do. So with that being said, we are going to hop into this video. And I'm going to, hopefully by the end of it, can encourage you or make you feel a little bit better about where you're at and what you're trying to do, and that you're actually exactly where you're supposed to be. So let's do it. Welcome back. Yes, I changed my sweater because this video is making me a little nervous, so I had to change my sweater. Okay. When you're on this journey of, you have this idea turns into execution, this execution turns into goal hitting. I've kind of like, in my mind, this is just me, this isn't like in textbooks or anything. I've always kind of visualized this process as a two-step process. And now as for the steps that come after that, I don't really know, because I only know for where I'm at. But if you're watching this video, you're probably somewhere in the beginning stages of this process, which is something that I can talk about because I definitely was in it. And so what those 2 steps are is something that I call the limbo process, and then the limbo leads you to a path. So let's talk about limbo for a minute. Limbo is this place that you begin to exist in when you want to build something that does not yet exist, right? It's when you want to build a business, you want to quit your job, you want to do something different with your life, you want to be in control of your finances, so you want to start this business, you have this idea, and you want to execute on it, right? Whether it's online, offline, this video is really for everybody, right? So limbo is this figuring it out period, as I call it. And the figuring it out period is going to be different for everybody, and it's going to look different for everybody. In this figuring it out period, you might try 30 different things that still don't figure anything out for you. But that's okay, and we're going to explain that why. But that's what limbo is. And then once you actually figure out what it is that you are going to be doing, then you go to a path, right? We're gonna dive more into this in a second because it goes a lot deeper and there's a lot more deeper meaning behind, you know, these processes and what's actually happening within these processes. But before we get into that, I just want to talk about something that happens even before you enter limbo. If you're watching this video and you're frustrated about where you are with your business, where you are financially, where you are mentally in correlation to your business, then you're probably in limbo, and that's okay. But we need to go behind that. Let's just back up before we even get to limbo, because there's a reason why you're in limbo. And you need to take a moment and feel thankful that you are who you are and that you made it to limbo, because most people don't. So one of the big misconceptions as we're young people, maybe you're not even in high school or in college, or you know, maybe you've already had a career for 10 years already and you're already in a career and you're looking for something different. All those things are fine. But back when we are in our youngest youth of, you know, career and figuring out what we want to do, a few things happen, right? So there's like, I give this in my mind, it's like about 5% of people come out of the womb or figure out very early on in their life, I'm talking like pre-college, pre-high school, what they're meant to do in their life. You know, you have the pianists and the artists and the people that want to become world-renowned dentists or surgeon, right? I would say like 5% of the people that exist on this planet just knew at a very early age what they were meant to do. What they're meant to, you know, the thing that wakes them up in the morning and they're just excited. It's not work to them. It's just, that's their passion and that's what they want, right? But for the other like 95% of us, like, we don't really know what makes us happy. We know what we're good at, maybe we don't know what we're good at, right? We don't know what the thing is that makes us tick, that makes us want to wake up in the morning and say, this isn't work, this is just me doing my life. Like, most people don't know. And so there's this big misconception because of society, maybe because of our parents that tell us, or maybe because we don't want to look bad in front of our friends or our family. You know, when it comes to those pivotal moments in our life where we have to decide, what is going to be my identity? Like, what am I going to do with my life? What is my career going to be? What am I going to spend every single day waking up to do? We have this really bad misconception that we don't have a passion, right? Because we're not one of those 5%ers that just knew. That's just those people. I'm different than those people. I don't have a passion, right? And so then we find ourselves settling for things that aren't pure to our identity, right? We end up taking these jobs or, you know, fulfilling these roles or playing these characters that aren't truly us. And we think it's normal. Like, we tell ourselves it's normal. It's normal because our parents are proud of us. It's normal because it pays our bills. It's normal because it's giving me a 401k. It's normal because it's keeping me safe from looking bad in front of people. That's not normal. That's not normal. That is society. That's false beliefs. That's our ego protecting us from looking bad in front of people. It's not normal. It's a lot harder to take the harder road when the easy road is right in front of you. And maybe in your mind it's like, oh, well, it wasn't easy per se. I just spent 4 years in college getting this degree to have this career. Yeah, but the harder road is choosing yourself and choosing something that fulfills you and makes you want to wake up every day and do the thing that you're meant to be doing, right? That's the harder thing. And because most of us don't know what that thing is, you could spend years in limbo. So I'm gonna talk about my journey and everything in a second, but just a little sneak peek here. I probably spent 3 to 4 years in my limbo. The point is, if you are somebody that is interested in doing something different, being different, having a full, fulfilling life, doing something, not only doing it, but making money from it that fulfills you, and you're wanting to enter limbo, or you're already weaved in deep into limbo and you're just feeling so pissed off and so discouraged, take a moment and feel good that you're even there. Because I can tell you, so few people on this planet will ever experience limbo, okay? So feel good, feel grateful for yourself that you're even there. Because that means that when you get out on the other side of limbo, your life is gonna be different forever. And all the pain and all the suffering and all the identity capital that you built within that amount of time will make you such a stronger, more humble, more confident, more successful human overall. And it's a necessary part of this step to get you to the path. Let's talk about limbo now. Limbo is the first step that leads you into your path, right? For the most part, there's no escaping limbo. Like, there's no skipping limbo. Unless you're really one of those 5%ers that just already knew what their passion is. They accumulated the skills, the knowledge, the identity capital really early on in their life, and they just came out to the other side and they already knew how to monetize it, make it their life, and make it, you know, the thing that they do every day to survive, right? Most of us don't have that. So I definitely did not have that, right? So for me, as I'm graduating college, I didn't know what I was passionate about. I had ideas, and I knew I had qualifiers for things that I wanted in my life. So for instance, I wanted financial freedom. So I wanted to be able, not that I had to be super rich, but I wanted to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, because I could. That doesn't mean like I'm gaudy and I need to be staying in like these super expensive hotels and just living this luxury lifestyle. That's not me at all. I just wanted to have the freedom to go anywhere, be as mobile as I wanted. If I wanted to take my family on a trip somewhere or buy them something or help them with something, or if one of them got sick, I wanted to be in the position to do so, right? That was my first qualification, right? I also wanted location freedom, right? So whatever I did, I wanted to ensure that I could do it from anywhere. Or I could set up my business in a way where I did have that freedom, that from one day to the next, if I decide one day I want to be here and the next day I want to go to freaking Alaska, that I would have that opportunity and I would have that ability to do that because I had set my life up in a way that made that possible. These are things that are important to me. I don't know what's important to you, but this is like just what I knew that I wanted for my life. I also knew that I wanted to build a community within my business, within my network, like a really strong community where, you know, we inspired each other, we worked with one another, whether that meant they were my employees or maybe we worked together in partnerships or whatever it may be. I wanted to have a strong tribe of people around me that we fed off each other and, you know, we're working together for something bigger. I also wanted to be able to, it kind of goes back into financial freedom, but I also wanted to be able to give back in a way to my friends and my family. And this is kind of like a weird one. It was like, I don't know if that means like money or just like being able to mentor other people. I just kind of knew that was like another big thing that I wanted for my life, right? So I'm taking these things for my life that I want, right? But that's not a skill. That's not a path. That's not a resume or a job description, right? Like, these are just things that I know that I want in my life, right? So how do I turn these things that I want for my life and go get them? And go get them in a way that I'm doing something that I'm proud of. I wake up and it doesn't feel like work. Like, how do you find that, right? Like, it's so broad, right? You know, I could have gone and go get a job, which would give me, you know, financial stability, but then what about my other things, right? That doesn't give me location freedom. That doesn't give me time freedom. That doesn't make me cultivate a tribe of people and, you know, followers and other, you know, partners that are going to contribute and I can contribute to their life. Like, that's not going to be the thing, right? So going to a corporate job, just like I wanted to at some points, at so many times, I filled out so many job applications, but I never did it, right? you have to look in yourself if you're just like not even entering limbo and ask yourself, what do you want, right? Right? And so then as you're entering limbo, you're like, okay, well, how do I go find that? I tried, attempted, worked at, spent money on, just absurd stuff that I did that has got me where I am today. And all of those things and all those crazy absurd things that I tried and places I went and businesses that I tried to build, they all were not what I'm doing today. But what they did do was build something that I just read about, and I wish somebody had taught me this word back in the day, which is called identity capital. So what identity capital is all the knowledge, the network, the resources, you know, the people, the new information that you acquire during this limbo period. I mean, you never stop gaining identity capital, but it's identity capital that leads you to the next thing, which leads you to the next thing, which leads you to the next thing. During my limbo, as in those moments of truth where I was failing and not reaching my goals and getting hard on myself and putting this crazy pressure on myself for not being here when I'm only here, I was calling them failures. I'm a failure. I'm a failure. My parents think that I'm failing. My friends are making fun of me. I'm a failure. I'm a failure. But I wasn't really failing, because what is failing? Failing is when you're truly giving up on something because of a shallow, egotistical reason that is inhibiting you from moving forward. That's giving up, right? And I'm not saying giving up because maybe something really dramatic in your life happened and your attention has to be here. That's not failing. Failing is when you are letting your ego, letting your fear or anxiety inhibit you from taking action and you just simply stop. So I was never really failing, right? In the time when I wasn't seeing the results I wanted, I was telling myself I was failing. Whereas what I should have been telling myself was, no, I'm not failing. I'm building my identity capital. Because every single time I didn't hit my goal, or I spent 2 months trying to build a business that blew up in my face, or I would spend 16 hours a day trying to figure something out, or, you know, build out something that just crashed right in front of my face. Like, every time that thing happened, I was learning something. I was learning a new skill. I was meeting a new person. I was going to a different place. I was learning about myself and the things that I like and what I don't like. All those things are your identity capital. It's your resourcefulness that you build, your network that you build, your knowledge that you build, right? And all those things are necessary in order to find your path. And so if I had this different relationship with my failures or my identity capital that I was building, I feel like I would have not only expedited my process to find my path, but I also would have not made it such a miserable journey for myself. Like, I was just, the amount of, we'll talk about that in another video. I was just so mentally, like, not good. Like, and it was my fault because I had these unrealistic expectations of, you know, of where I was supposed to be, whatever that means. And I, you know, like, I could not let my ego get damaged by my parents not approving me. Oh, and I could never ask for help. Asking for help was like a no-no. Like, if I had to go to my parents for help, or I had to ask a friend for help, oh no, that was, I rather like would have ate like a bag of nails or something. Like, asking for help wasn't even an option. So we're, in reality, those are just all things, the lies that we tell ourselves of like what success is supposed to look like, but then what is success really supposed to look like? So anyway, the point of all this is to tell you that the limbo process is such a necessary part of the process, and you might try 30,000 different things that don't work out. Or maybe you spend 3 years trying to build something that blows up in your face, right? Like, and it might seem like failure, but it's not. You're just building character. You're building your identity capital, right? And all of those things are going to lead you to the beginning of your path, which the beginning of your path is once you realize, maybe you don't even realize, maybe it's not even that clear. Maybe this thing leads you to this thing, and then all of a sudden you start going down this way, and then the universe all of a sudden starts giving back to you those things, those key things that you wanted in the beginning, the financial freedom, the location freedom. All of a sudden those things start appearing in your life. and they start feeding you. So then you start building momentum, and then the momentum leads to more of those things on your list, right? And then now you know that you found your path. And only then, once you find your path, that it's clear. Now you know what you need to do. Now you know. Because of all this identity capital, because of all of this character that you just built, because of all this suffering, now, because you now have the knowledge and the resources and the tools and the network and the people in your life, you have found your path. And now the destination to the bigger goals and the bigger things that you're trying to reach, it's clear. There's no more variables. There's no more confusion. You know exactly how you're supposed to get where you're supposed to get with the tools and the resources and all the network and all the things that you've acquired through this limbo period. And so looking back, you know, I just did like the wildest things to build this identity capital because I didn't even know. Like, I didn't even know what my passion was, what I was meant to do. I just knew I wanted to be here and I wanted these things, and I just started doing random shit to get there. Okay guys, I just want to close out on that last point that I made. I'm switching over to my computer because I don't want to ramble on too much longer. This is really the first time that I'm making a video like this, and I hope that there's going to be more and better versions of this in the future as I grow and learn and get better at YouTube. So if you have stayed this long, I just wanted to thank you so much for watching. And I hope that you did get something out of this video. And if you did, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video.